All right, hi. Hello, everybody. This is something new I'm trying out for a yeah, so already messing up with this video, but welcome everybody. This is Backstory Ben. Over on Twitch, I stream a lot of Disney Speedstorm. It's one of my all-time favorite games. It's not even like a year old, and I already love it so much. But just wanted to say off the top before I continue, super unscripted. This is all just like my raw sort of thoughts and opinions on the subject. But the subject being, this is a tier list of a bunch of different Disney IPs. So if I scroll down, you got a bunch of franchises slash movies down here, and up here we have the franchises that are already in the game, like Mickey and Friends, Mulan, Pirates of the Caribbean, Hercules, Beauty and the Beast, Jungle Book, Monsters Inc., Walt Disney World, aka just Figment, so that's why I have Figment there, Toy Story, Lilo and Stitch, Aladdin, Frozen, Oswald, Wall-E, and Little Mermaid. So all these have already been confirmed, or are in the game currently. The only one that's not in the game currently is Little Mermaid, but we know from whatchamacallit, the roadmap that Gameloft has posted earlier in the year, like maybe a month or two ago or something, that we know that Season 6 is going to be a Little Mermaid themed. And by the way, this is during mid-season of Season 5. We haven't even gotten to Season 6 yet. But again, we know that Season 6's theme is going to be Little Mermaid. So that's why I have included that right here on this tier. But all these other movies right here are up for grabs. And another sort of note before we get into the actual like tiers and explanations and stuff like that is I've only included Disney and Pixar properties here. I don't have any Marvel, I don't have any Star Wars, I don't have any Fox, I don't have any like those other properties. I'm still sure that they're possible. Like I'm sure they could probably put in Star Wars characters or Marvel characters, for instance. If I did have them included on this list, they'd probably be either not very likely or absolutely no chance. But just know that these are all of the Disney and Pixar animated films canon, and then I have a few like extra little side things in here that I think are possible, or at least are popular enough to be worth mentioning. But again, they could, since it's Gameloft and they've given us Figment as well as Oswald, like they can pull from basically anywhere. So there's definitely more IPs, franchises that could be included in this game. But yeah, I just thought that this was like a smaller grab bag of or more realizable sort of IPs that we could discuss. So without further ado, let's formally introduce this as tier list. Whoops, sorry, I didn't want to cover the camera. Which franchises are going to come into Disney Speedstorm in the future? Maybe, question mark, perhaps, mayhaps. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at all these different movies and stuff, and I'm going to be ranking them based on my, opinions and whatever of, what, how likely of a chance they have to be included in the game in the future, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. So if you have any other discussions or like any other ideas that I may have missed, you go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe because I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping to make more content on Disney Speedstorm, and as well, you can also follow me on twitch.tv/backstoryben. That's where I will be, Twitch is like my first avenue of content creation, so that's where I'm going to be more active. So, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter for updates, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure I'll include all that in the description of the video and everything. And again, if you enjoyed this video and you want to keep the discussion going, be sure to, again, subscribe, like, comment, all the usual YouTube stuff. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, first thing I want to do, because we've had a sort of trend when it comes to the theme of every season is grab all of the princess films or princess-esque films. So we're gonna grab. I'm just gonna put them. Let's see. Let's put everything in very good time or very good chance for the beginning, and then we'll move everything based on where we need to move them. So we have Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. Let's see, what is next? A lot of the Renaissance Disney princess films have already been included in there. Okay, here's Pocahontas. Yeah, you see everything between Sleeping Beauty and Pocahontas has already been accounted for, which is just insane. Let's see. So, no. Ratatouille. Wow. Yeah, there's a sort of grace period there. We got again, Pocahontas, Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Brave. What's next? Moana, Raya, and technically, Encanto. It's not technically a princess film, but it, kind of falls into that category, as well as Wish, which is the newest Disney film as of this point. So, again, like I mentioned before, the most current 3 seasons of Speedstorm have run with this princess theme. So we have Season 4 for Aladdin right here. Currently, we have Season 5 going on for Frozen, that's the theme, and then Season 6's theme is going to be Little Mermaid, like I discussed before. So, we're going to start off easy with the princess films and see which spots they should fall into. So, right off the bat, I'm going to keep Snow White, Cinderella, and Sleeping Beauty all in very good chance. They all have an equal... Yeah, they pretty much all have an equal chance in my eyes of being included as another theme for a season, if that makes sense. I can also see them using any of these as specifically just like for guest slots. Like we have WALL-E. He hasn't had a major theme on his own, neither with all the original franchises, of course. But for WALL-E, that's a franchise that got added in that that could be popular enough for its own sort of themed season or something, but no, they just decided to give us WALL-E as a guest character of sorts, kind of like how Figment and Oswald are. And most likely we're going to probably get more WALL-E representation down the line. I can see in Season 6 they probably give us Eve, for instance, because it's just him for now. I feel like, she's just as important as WALL-E is, so she's probably going to be a guest character in Season 6. But again, in terms of themes, Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty all have a pretty equal chance of becoming a theme. Pocahontas, now this is interesting because there are definitely a decent amount of characters that they could pull from Pocahontas, like Pocahontas herself, of course, and John Smith and Radcliffe. Will it become a season franchise though, or a season theme rather? I'm not entirely sure if they're gonna actually base an entire theme around Pocahontas. Like Pocahontas, out of all the rest of these Disney princesses, is probably one of the least popular. Not to say that the quality of these movies are bad. Like I love all of these movies, of course. Pocahontas, though, not super popular. She's popular, but not as popular as some of these other franchises. So I think I'll probably bump her down to Could See Happening. Just because, again, she's in that sort of middle ground of like, oh, will they do it or will they not do it? Will Pocahontas just be like a guest character for her own franchise? Will it just be her? Will they include anybody else? Again, possible, but popularity-wise, not so much. Princess and the Frog. Okay, so out of all of these princess franchises, this is definitely my most wanted right here. Like, I love Princess and the Frog. Born and raised in New Orleans, so I obviously have a lot of bias towards that movie. In terms of characters, yeah, I can name like several. I can name Tiana and Naveen and Lewis and Dr. Facilier, even maybe Mama Odie, right? There's like so many good characters that you could pull from this movie And it's still super popular today because she's getting her own ride in the Disney parks, right? Like, she's taking over Splash Mountain. So definitely, probably more possible than either like the original trio, the original Princess trio. So I'm going to put Princess and the Frog in only a matter of time. I feel super confident that they're going to make this into a franchise, especially since New Orleans could be, or a theme rather, for a season. Especially since New Orleans has such a unique sort of biome to it, like sort of look to it. So, I mean, Princess and the Frog definitely on the table. I will also throw up Tangled, which is our next princess movie here as well, just because Tangled is massively popular. Kingdom of Corona is a very unique locale compared to all the other places we've seen. It's like the most similar to Jungle Book, but Jungle Book has a lot of ruins going on with it, and I can actually see a racetrack for Tangled being, you know, split between the forest area and also the Snuggly Duckling maybe, and maybe also Rapunzel's Tower, as well as the actual Kingdom of Corona itself, just like what they did with Arendelle, where they, you know, have Elsa's Ice Palace in the North Mountain, and then you have Arendelle, like the kingdom itself, right? So, you know, Kingdom of Corona would be essentially Arendelle's copy, except it would be more foresty and less ice, right? So I can definitely see this being a massive franchise to include in Speedstorm as well. Brave. Again, we've come to a crossroads. Does it have a very good chance of getting into Speedstorm? In terms of like Pixar, because like a lot of the franchises so far are from Disney, and there's only like 2 franchises from Pixar so far. No, actually, sorry, 3. Like, you know, Pixar is such a huge like company, and it's got like massively popular films and everything. I just, you know, part of me, because of the Pixar fact, wants to keep Brave right here in very good chance. But on the other hand, it's like, do people even really remember Brave all that well? You know, like Merida herself is pretty popular. But then when I think about it, like, could her kingdom, you know, be a good location for a racetrack? I can't even remember the name of her kingdom. That's how, you know, forgettable the name is. And, you know, besides Merida, like, who else are you going to throw in there? Could you throw in King Fergus or something? Or, you know, Queen God, I forgot her name. Isn't it Eleanor? I think her name is Eleanor. And, like, her brothers? No, not really. I can't really think of many racers off the top of my head that are like, yes, we gotta get him in this game. And there's also no like villain to represent Brave either. You can't like have a bear driving a car. I mean, you can, it's possible, but I just don't see it as likely. So but I don't think it's not very likely on the other hand though. So let's probably move it down to could see happening. I could still see Brave happening, but they've got to do a lot of work to make it happen. So, well, again, I'm probably gonna be like rearranging these tiers as I like go through it. Literally, again, see, here's the thing. Brave, again, on its own, not popular enough for its own season theme or whatever. I'm just gonna say for its own season. But Merida as a guest character, I could see happening. I could literally see Brave happening only because of Merida, and that's it. And maybe they want to chuck in some other like side characters too. So, you know, in terms of like, could it happen? Yes, definitely. I mean, all these could technically happen, but can I see it happening as much as Brave becoming a guest franchise? Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. All right, next we got Moana, and that's already going right up there because Moana is stupidly popular. And you know, Moana, Maui, like already you have a decent amount of like racers for that. Like, but that's the thing though, is I can only see the 2 of them happening. So I don't know if they're gonna get their own theme or their own season, I should say. But as guest characters, yeah, Moana's probably gonna happen. And if they wanted to like make it 4 or something, then they they could also probably just add in Moana's parents, because you can't have Pua driving. It's not possible. Same with Tafiti. She can't drive. I mean, that would be crazy if they made Tafiti a racer. But again, on the other hand, like scale, no, can't do it. So most likely we're gonna get Moana, but as a guest franchise, I would assume, right? Kind of in the same boat as Merida from Brave. So, but Moana's super more likely than Brave. Like I'll be pretty surprised if Moana doesn't even get into the game at all. Boy, here we go. Raya and the Last Dragon. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna skip Raya for now. I'm gonna just say Encanto. Yeah, definitely gonna be a matter of time too. You know how stupidly popular Encanto is? It kind of rivals Frozen, honestly, in terms of like merchandising and like other stuff. And you got an entire cast of people to like choose as racers, and you got, Colombia being like this super unique locale, and you can like even race throughout just Casita itself. Like you can go through all the different rooms. You can go to Bruno's room, you can go to Antonio's room, you can go to Luisa's room. Well, we don't even see Luisa's room. We can go into Isabella's room. Like there's just so many like unique kind of parts to Encanto that you can include, that just, again, make this just a no-brainer whatsoever. So now we've come to Raya and the Last Dragon and Wish. Oh boy. Okay, so Raya has a good shot, I think, of making it in. But will they choose it over like these other ones? See, here's the thing too. Like, I'm not ordering my tiers, of course. I'm just, ordering them as far as like the stuff above it. Well, I see it coming before them, right? So, I mean, oh god, Cinderella. Well, excuse me. Okay, so for racers, I can definitely see them pulling Snow White, the prince, the evil queen, and maybe they want to throw in a couple of dwarves in there. Like, I can definitely see that happening, so it's a pretty good chance. Cinderella, same story. You got Cinderella, you got Prince Charming, you got Lady Tremaine, maybe like the stepsisters too. Like you can have Anastasia and Drizella be racers. Sleeping Beauty, again, very same story. Aurora, Prince Philip, Maleficent, obviously, and then maybe if you want to throw in Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, like they could also be racers too. Raya, I can list off a decent chunk of like characters you could get into a car. Like Raya herself, obviously, Namari for sure. The other companions, I forgot their names, but you can get them in there too if you wanted to. Even like Sisu, I could see being a racer, because all you need, because one, it could be Sisu in her like human form. But it could also, even if she is in her dragon form, like she can steer, like she can grab onto a wheel and she can steer and drive and stuff like that. So, like honestly, Raya has a decent shot. Also, the world. Again, I'm blanking on the name, but her world is a pretty unique locale, and you can like go to different the different kingdoms. You can go to Heart and Fang and Tail and et cetera, et cetera. So I think Raya has a pretty decent shot of being easily implemented into Speedstorm, which is crazy because like no one talks about Raya anymore. I mean that's on them because I love Raya. I thought it was an awesome movie, but I mean, again, I see it technically being more possible than Pocahontas and Brave. So I think I'm just keep that there. Wish, I think technically I can also see a case for, even though it's like super new. Wish would be like the sort of marketing pick, if that makes sense. Since it is so new, I could see them pulling from Wish, like, Asha and King Magnifico and Asha's friends, maybe even the Queen or something. Like, again, racers, a lot of choices to choose from. Locale, the Kingdom of Rosas is pretty bland, all things considered. It's, you know, because it's supposed to, this movie's supposed to be sort of a celebration of Disney's lineage, right? So a lot of its imagery, specifically, not so much like its world building, but more of its imagery, is supposed to be reminiscent of like past movies. So Wish being like, I mean, I could see them choosing Rosas as a racetrack and making Wish its own franchise, or its own season. I need to keep remembering that season. I can see this being a season. So I think both Raya and Wish have a better chance than Pocahontas and Brave, which is a shame because Pocahontas and Brave are awesome movies, but like, again, I personally, I just think it's more possible. And then in terms of other princess movies, princess-esque movies that haven't already been, you know, thrown into the game already, Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Moana, and Encanto definitely have the highest chances. And again, Encanto shouldn't even count because it's not a princess movie. Mirabelle's not a princess, but it feels like a princess movie, doesn't it? So, okay, I think we got that out of the way. There's another sort of category I might want to tackle on before we start doing more unique approaches to these things. So I'm going to grab, let's see, what am I going to grab? I'm going to grab Dumbo. I'm going to grab Bambi. I will grab Lady and the Tramp, 101 Dalmatians, Aristocats. Let's see, what else? Fox and the Hound. Okay, what other ones? Oliver and Company, Lion King. I don't know if you guys are sensing a theme yet, but keep thinking about it. When I get to the end of the list, I'll let you know what the theme is. So I'm also gonna grab Dinosaur. Blah blah. Yeah, let's grab Finding Nemo and Brother Bear and Home on the Range. Let's see. Okay, what else? Let's grab Bolt. Good Dinosaur. And I think that's actually it. Okay, so if you haven't already guessed the theme of all the movies I just grabbed from the list, most of these films have quadrupedal main characters. So, like, I honestly don't see them being able to drive a car because, you know, again, quadrupedal, they don't have hands. They run on 4 legs, right? So having them get into a racing game where you need to grab a steering wheel, you need to push down a pedal, and you need to start driving, like, again, I just don't see it. Dumbo, when I think about it, doesn't really have any like human characters or that many like normal like main characters that again can drive. So that I'm probably putting Dumbo here. Same with Bambi. Again, all forest creatures, none of them can drive. You can make a case for Thumper, I guess, but even then, like, just don't. Again, same with Dumbo. You could probably make a case for Timothy and maybe some of the like circus human characters. Maybe Mr. Stork, the birds. Like, just no. Lady and the Tramp, same story. They can't drive. Same with 101 Dalmatians. Also can't drive. The only exception for 101 Dalmatians that I might actually bump it up to not very likely is Cruella. If they include this as a franchise, it's only gonna be a guest franchise, and the only character I'm thinking about that could come from this franchise is Cruella, right? Because like she's known for driving, like in the movie a lot, and you know, if they needed more villains for the game, because they are starting to like add in more villains as we speak, especially since like season 3. If they needed more villains, like classic Disney villains, to represent different franchises and stuff, I could see Cruella being like a high pick for that. So I'm gonna bump up 101 Dalmatians to not very likely, but again, everyone else in that movie can't drive. Except for maybe, again, Roger and Anita, but are they really gonna like put them in over like Pongo and Perdita if they had the chance? So definitely not likely. Aristocats, nobody drives except for Edgar and their own, like the main character's owner, like the woman, I forgot her name. But again, out of catalog of Disney villains, Edgar, really, are you gonna pull him? Like there's other more popular picks than Edgar, so Aristocats, unfortunately, not gonna stay there. Same with the Fox and the Hound, main characters can't drive. Their owners can, but this movie isn't popular enough for them to do that. Oliver and Company, unfortunately, same story. Like, it would be funny to see Dodger actually drive a car because of his song sequence, but again, no, he can't drive. Oliver can't drive. The human characters in the movie can drive, but Oliver and Company itself isn't a massively popular movie, so they're not gonna pull characters from there, I don't think. Lion King. Yeah, it's so unfortunate and also very hilarious that Lion King probably is going to be out of the question. The only two picks from Lion King that I can think of that they would include are Timon and Rafiki. Now let's think about that for a second. So, like, we have a secondary character. Well, we have two secondary characters actually. And like, I know Lion King is a massively popular franchise, but again, why would you pick secondary characters from that movie? I don't understand. I don't think it has absolutely zero chance, probably because of Timon and Rafiki. So I might bump it up to not very likely, but again, really don't see it coming into the game unless they want to bend the rules and make Simba and Nala and like everyone else who's quadrupedal drive. I don't see it happening. The only two characters I see happening again are Timon and Rafiki, but again, are we really gonna pull Timon and Rafiki to solo rep their franchise that's massively popular? I don't see it. Dinosaur, yep, not gonna happen. Everyone in that movie is quadrupedal, or it's not a popular movie to begin with, which is a shame because I remember really liking Dinosaur, but it's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. Finding Nemo. So, interestingly enough, I think Finding Nemo is more likely than some of these other movies we talked about, but they don't have legs, so I can't see them driving. At least they have fins where they can hold onto the steering wheel. But if they wanted to like do it where, you don't have feet to push a pedal, I really don't see it happening. So for now, I'm just gonna say Finding Nemo has an absolutely zero chance of making it into the game. But again, probably more likely than some of these other ones. Brother Bear. So depending on how they do Brother Bear into the game. Could be possible if they're doing, Kenai and his brothers as humans. I can see it. Bears are a little more like mobile than other animals. They're not necessarily quadrupedal. I mean, they are, like they walk around on their hands and feet, but bears can hold onto the wheel. They have feet to steer the to push on the gas pedal, and they can steer with their hands. Brother Bear has a better chance, I think, than any of these other movies, but is it massively popular? No. Is anyone even gonna like remember that? Are they gonna make sure that bears can drive? Probably. But I don't know. Technically, Brother Bear is a little bit more possible, I think, than some of these other ones. So we're gonna go with that. Home on the Range. None of the main characters can drive because they're quadrupedal. And the villains, who's gonna even remember the villains? And also, this movie's not popular, so yeah, probably not gonna happen. Same with Bolt, unfortunately. All quadrupeds, they can't drive. This hamster, I'm totally blanking on his name, but hamster could probably do it, but they would have to size him up, much more. Miley Cyrus's character could obviously drive, and they have the villain from the fake TV show that could probably drive too. But again, why would they pick those two to randomly represent Bolt and like not the main characters? Because like every other franchise in this game so far have pulled from main characters, right? The craziest inclusion we have here is Figment for Walt Disney World. Well, minus Oswald, but but I would still say Figment's probably like way more obscure and way more of a deep cut inclusion than like everything else. But again, he's massively popular in Walt Disney World and Epcot, in the Disney community at large. If people are in that community, he has the anatomy to drive. So, this happening? No, it's definitely not going to happen. Same with Good Dinosaur, unfortunately. Not a very popular movie. The only human character who could possibly drive a car is Spot, but I doubt Spot's going to want to solo rep his franchise of a movie that isn't even that popular. So I'm confident with keeping everything here and absolutely zero chance. 101 Dalmatians, Lion King, and Brother Bear almost should be in here too. But I can kind of see arguments being made for these 3 franchises, so that's why I'm gonna just bump them up to not very likely. Okay, I think besides princess movies and quadruped movies, I think that's pretty much all of like the major players out of the way. So let's get down to business. But also, getting on to the main sort of Disney canon. Okay, so Pinocchio. I'm gonna say could see happening. It's not, Pinocchio is a pretty popular franchise. In terms of racers, Pinocchio, Geppetto, maybe Jiminy Cricket if they wanted to size them up for whatever reason. Blue Fairy, like I could see them coming up with like decent, characters for that. Also John Foulfellow and Gideon and Stromboli. So like you have a decent cast of characters you could choose from, as well as Pleasure Island being a pretty cool idea for a racetrack. Like think just like colorful lights everywhere, circus themes everywhere. It's honestly the layout and the theme of a racetrack for Pinocchio could be super good, super good. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave Pinocchio could see happening. I don't know if it's a very good chance of happening, because I would think that like they would want to cover the princesses first before Pinocchio. I could be wrong. Again, the only classic franchise we have here, except for these two, Mickey and Friends and Oswald, is Jungle Book. I think they need to add more older Disney films as franchises into this game, because like a lot of them are still pretty popular. And they could they could make for like decent racetracks, and also, the cast of characters, so many possibilities. So Pinocchio, I think I'll stay for could see happening at the moment. Maybe we'll raise it up to very good chance, but for Pinocchio, I could see it happening. Ichabod and the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. So, I guess you could include Ichabod, sure. This is one of those like weird cases where it's 2 short stories, slammed into one, product. The heavy lifting for this movie is definitely Mr. Toad, because it's his whole thing to drive around. I could see Mr. Toad like being a very easy to implement character into the game. Is it very likely? But man, I think I'll probably put it in as not very likely, even though I would love to see Mr. Toad as a racer. And then if they are doing this as a franchise, you could also do Mr. Toad, and then you can have Ichabod driving in a car. I could see it happening, but it's, it's still very not a good chance for it to to get in there. So I'm pretty confident with this placement for it. Alice in Wonderland, that's immediately going to very good chance, because you have a bunch of characters that you can choose from. You have Wonderland, which could be potentially like an awesome racetrack in terms of theme. A lot of this is going to be a repeat, because again, like racetrack sort of potential, as well as like having a decent cast. that could all like drive and they could all be unique characters. Like that's what's really going to put you over the edge compared to some of these other franchises. I could see Alice in Wonderland even being its own season 2. Like Pinocchio, I guess I can technically see it as its own season, but Alice in Wonderland, like I feel way more confident about it becoming its own season. So that's why it's got a better chance than Pinocchio in my eyes. But yeah, I would love to have this movie be represented in the game too, because I love Alice in Wonderland. It's one of my all-time favorite Disney movies. So would love to definitely see this get in. Actually, only a matter. To be honest, I think I could actually see it being almost guaranteed to get into the game. Which is crazy to me because like it's doing better than like these other princess movies. But like honestly, kind of it's a good shot. It's a really good shot of it making it in. But am I like mega confident? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put my foot down. I'm gonna say this has a very, very, very good chance of getting in. So I think it's only a matter of time at this point. Same with Peter Pan. Peter Pan has a lot of, Neverland itself, again, interesting racetrack location, a bunch of characters, Peter Pan, Wendy, Captain Hook, Smee, John and Michael. Like you got a decent cast of characters you can make it in. Peter Pan is a massively popular franchise, so like very good shot. It's a very, very good chance of making it in for sure. Sword in the Stone. Okay. Sword in the Stone. I can think of characters. I can think of Madame Mim, Merlin, and Arthur, and then maybe like Arthur's brother or something. Well, really just those three. I could see them being characters. Racetrack, I guess I can kind of see it. Maybe like you go into the water and then you go up into the trees and then you go into the castle and stuff. Maybe you see the Sword in the Stone itself. I'm gonna put it in could see happening. It's definitely more likely than any of these, I think. Not as likely as these, for sure. But yeah, I think Sword in the Stone has potential to become a pretty good sort of guest appearance or guest franchise, right? Mary Poppins. Yeah, so I have a couple of strange ones in here. We'll get to this one in a bit because this one and something else on my list is gonna need a little bit more explanation. So, Mary Poppins. I could see it happening. I don't know if it has a very good chance. I think they'd probably want to pick these princess movies before they pick Mary Poppins. But you can have Mary Poppins and Bert as racers. Like I could see this being a guest character or a guest franchise more often than not. But if they were to do a racetrack, like its own season for it, I guess technically you have enough characters for that. You could have like, the kids being there as well as like racers, just like Mowgli. And the racetrack could be pretty cool too, because then you can go through London and then you can go into like the chalk drawings, and then you can go that way for supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, like that section of the film, Jolly Holiday, whatever you want to call that sort of portion. So it kind of checks all the boxes for racers and track, but again, is it as likely as some of these other ones? Maybe not. I could see it happening. It would be another Pirates of the Caribbean predicament, or sort of situation where like they pull like from the live action movies. Like Mary Poppins is super popular, so like I could definitely see it happening for sure. Okay, well, this is interesting. So first, I'm gonna give some context about Love Bug. So first, I'm gonna say Cars. I can see happening. So, yeah. This is something else. But wait, Ben, how are the cars going to drive? They can't drive cars. They are cars. Exactly. They just drive themselves. And I will say that that they could use like weapons or items, just like how any other character can use weapons and stuff. Because of, say, like the other racing games that Cars has been in, like their own franchise of racing games, Disney Infinity, the way they do like items for like that sort of setting, the Cars can do it in Speedstorm as well, right? I could really see it happening. It's not as popular as some of these other franchises, and it's not as likely, but well, I mean, scratch that. Cars is super popular. They have their own land in Disney California Adventure. So, and like their merchandise off the wazoo. So Cars, very popular franchise. Is it as likely as any of these others? No. But I could see it working better than any of these quadruped movies. so yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Oh boy. So Love Bug. So literally just for Herbie the Love Bug, the exact same reasoning for Cars, because he could drive himself and he could use items and stuff. I don't think it has absolutely zero chance of making it in, so I'm gonna put it in not very likely. But for the exact same reasoning as Cars, I could definitely see it. Actually, I could see Herbie being a guest character, like an out of left field guest character, in one of these seasons. So. If we see Herbie, then you'll know that I'm sort of a prophet. Okay, Robin Hood. Not a very good chance. I'm also not gonna say it's unlikely. I'm gonna say could see happening, because Sherwood Forest, again, locale is not super interesting, but Robin Hood is like such a good cast of characters that you can put in there, like Robin Hood and Maid Marian and Little John is it Little John? And then Prince John? Wait, I guess there's two characters in there named John. I never realized that before. Yeah, so cast of characters kind of makes up for the fact that, or is kind of carrying this movie in terms of could see happening. Again, just because, they can actually drive. They're animals, but they're humanoids, so they can actually drive cars and stuff. So definitely possible. The Muppets. God. Well, technically I can see the Muppets happening, but I'm also going to put them in not very likely, because it just sort of depends on if they want to actually do another deep cut. Because, I mean, again, the Muppets can drive cars. It could be a pretty unique season theme for them as well. It's so far of a stretch that I just don't feel confident in putting it in, could see happening or very good chance. Although I'd love to have the Muppets in there, like Kermit and Miss Piggy and Gonzo and Fozzie and like whoever else they want to add in. Again, super popular franchise, very possible in terms of racing, or racers rather, and track as well. Like driving through the Muppet Show, that would be super interesting. But is it likely? I don't think so. Let's see. Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know if I want to put it in not very likely or could see happening. I think I'll put it in not very likely. I know this is weird because Winnie the Pooh is like a massive franchise, and they can easily drive around and they can easily have a super unique racetrack. On the other hand, though, if I were choosing the characters in the game, would I want to include Winnie the Pooh characters? I mean, I could. I'm not saying they're impossible. Like they have a better shot than any of these others down here, of course. But do they have a decent shot at getting in the game? I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. Like there's nothing stopping them from putting Winnie the Pooh characters in there, but I don't know. That's sort of this is probably like, this might be my most controversial pick right here. Well, minus Lion King maybe, but this might be my like very controversial sort of stance on that. Okay, so next we have Rescuers. I think they're also gonna go not very likely, mostly because not a super popular movie to start with, so that's already gonna hurt your chances. If they're gonna make a Bayou racetrack, it's gonna be Princess and the Frog. It's gonna be New Orleans. So, you know, racetracks out of the question. Excuse me. But Bernard and Bianca as racers, it's possible. I mean, we have Mickey Mouse, of course, so we can have more mice, you know, racing and everything. Same with Medusa, and I think her name's Penny, the girl that they have to rescue in the first movie, at least. And if they also wanted to pull from Rescuers Down Under, because I have, like, them kind of lumped together for this, they could also pick characters from there. But likely, I'm not entirely sure. I feel like some of these other franchises have more of a chance than Rescuers, which is kind of strange. But again, it's just kind of how popularity goes. All right, next we're gonna do another live action property. We're gonna put Tron right there in Could See Happening. A very good chance. Does it have a very good chance? Do I think it could come in more than some of these other ones? I mean, kind of. I kind of think Tron has a lot of potential, and because then you can have like Flam. That's not a name. You can have Sam and Flynn, and you can have or Kevin. Actually, his first name's Kevin. You can have Tron himself. You can have Korra, and then like the grid itself is like such a cool sort of backdrop for a racetrack. But then we also have, you know, Arby's course, you know, Arby's circuit or whatever you want to call it. So it's already like a very digital theme. And like they do race. But is it still a very good chance though? My heart is telling me I want to put it in very good chance, but I'm not entirely sure. So maybe we'll just wait on Tron. We'll wait on Tron. Next we have Black Cauldron. That's already gonna go and not very likely. I mean, it's the black sheep of the entire Disney canon. Like, you know, it's such a good movie. Everyone, there's like such a cult following for it. But it's still super niche compared to like the broader Disney canon. I'm thinking, you know, I'm also trying to think of like, you know, popularity contest. How much of the general public, the normal general public, know about each of these movies or care about each of these movies? Black Cauldron, unfortunately, even though it's such a good movie, kind of has to stay not very likely. Although again, cast of characters as well as location for a racetrack, like peak, like it's a pretty decent selection to choose from when it comes to Black Cauldron, but I just don't see it happening. Great Mouse Detective, also probably not very likely, and I think it's because, again, popularity contest, no, most people don't really remember Great Mouse Detective all that well. Man, like, again, cast of characters, location, could be, like, unique, but I don't know. I'm not confident in I'm not very confident in its chances. So we'll just keep it at not very likely. Same with Roger Rabbit. Like, I almost want to put this in 0 chance because of all the legal loopholes you might have to work with. Because I know Disney owns these characters to some degree. And then if you have these characters here, you know, Jessica Rabbit, Roger Rabbit, even like Eddie Valiant or Valorant or whatever his name is, like they can make for good racers. You can also like make a decent racetrack out of this. Although I guess we already have Toontown, so it would be a sort of repeat. So I could see them being guest characters, but again, it all just kind of depends on if they want to deal with the whole sort of Warner Brothers angle of it and just like making more content for Roger Rabbit. It's very, very, very small chance of it happening. So I'm just gonna say it's not very likely. Hocus Pocus I could actually see happening. Hocus Pocus has become super popular nowadays. You know, so much so that they made a sequel, of course, and then you have the Sanderson sisters, Winifred, Mary, and Sarah. They could make for a decent like guest franchise getting into the game if they want to do like a Halloween theme. But it sort of depends on if they want to actually, deep cut and like kind of make them characters and stuff. That's the only way I can see them making it into the game is as guest characters. So that's why I'm gonna put them here. Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh boy. Again, I kind of want to put it in Very Good Chance. But again, the whole legal implications of it. I don't know if it bumps it down to Could See Happening for me. Oh boy. I think for now I might put it in Could See Happening. And literally the only reason why it's like this low is just because, again, the whole legal loophole thing. I remember, well, actually, you know what? No, never mind. I'm gonna put it in Very Good Chance. This is weird. This movie is weird in terms of like representation for different things. Like obviously this is massively popular. It sells lots of merchandise. It makes a big appearance in the parks. People like, watch this every year, I assume, for like Halloween, Christmas, whatever you want to call it. Both maybe. I know it's definitely a Halloween movie. So there's another controversial pick for you. Now this is a Halloween movie that just deals with Christmas. But you know what? Now that I think about it, it's got a pretty decent shot. I don't think it's guaranteed like some of these are. But I honestly think that this is pretty good. It's a pretty good shot because I know it's massively popular. So Hunchback of Notre Dame. Does it have a good chance? Does it have more of a chance than any of these movies? Oh boy. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I think I will probably put it in Very Good Chance. Again, massively popular franchise, unique location, or for a racetrack at least. You could actually drive through like Notre Dame. Although that'd be kind of strange, but like in terms of like theme or like look of it, yeah, it would be cool. And then again, you have a bunch of characters you could use. You can use literally I can name you like the 4 season characters that it would be if it were a season. It'd be Quasimodo, Esmeralda, Phoebus, and Frollo. There would be your 4 right there. So yeah, I mean I guess it's got a decent shot. It's got a pretty decent shot of making it in, but I don't think it's guaranteed. We'll have to see what happens after season 6 when they come up with like a new roadmap for us going in later into the game's life, the game sort of lifespan. But yeah, it's got a decent shot. Bug's Life, however, I don't think is as likely, so I'll probably put it at Could See Happening. I could see them driving cars because they're not quadrupeds. I can see Flick and Anita. No, that's not her name. I don't remember what her name is, but like his lover, or his girlfriend, or whatever you want to call it. You can have him, you can have Flick and have Hopper, and then you can have some of like the other circus bugs and stuff, and then like the other ants. And Racetrack could be pretty cool too, because like you're all shrunk down, you're the size of an ant. So it's got potential to be a season theme, but most likely I could see it coming as like a guest franchise, and maybe let's see, just maybe just Flick or something, but we'll have to see. Tarzan, I'm unfortunately gonna have to put into not very likely because again, more legal tape. more legal tape. Like Tarzan hasn't like been around at all recently, so if they were to pull from this movie, you have Tarzan, you have Jane, and then you have Clayton. Like there you go, there's your 3, and then maybe Turk, I guess, could be a 4th character as a racer. But again, I wish it was more likely, but just that whole sort of legal tape over Tarzan is just not making it very possible for me. So I'm gonna put it down in that direction. Emperor's New Groove. Oh man, it is massively popular. I will say that. Man, is it? Oh, well, huh. See, you got your 4 characters right on the box art. You got Kuzco, Pacha, Kronk, and Yzma. So already you have your cast of characters for racers. In terms of location, I mean, I guess it'd be unique going through like the Aztec forest and like the temples and other places and stuff. I don't know if it's like a very good chance. So I might put it at could see happening. It's like everyone loves this movie. Again, it's so popular, but like, do you really see it that often in terms of like other things? I'm not entirely sure. It's like kind of like in that weird limbo state where it's like it's a super popular, but it's also not popular enough that like they're actually doing anything substantial with the franchise. So I'm just gonna say could see happening. Atlantis is an interesting one. You already have a bunch of characters you can choose from, once again, and Atlantis itself is a very unique location for a racetrack, but I don't know if it's super likely to happen though, which is weird. So I'm gonna put it in not very likely. I know a lot of people love Atlantis. You know, these 2000 Disney films, everyone's starting to love a lot. Which is great because I've always loved all these movies. But I don't really see it happening, really. Because of just, I know how Disney sort of, operates when they, like, choose different things, for, like, different, sources or whatever. Atlantis just isn't that popular. It's really not. But it's a shame because again, this has so much potential for like an awesome sort of, franchise inclusion. So I'm crossing my fingers that it does happen, but again, not super popular. Hey, look, Kingdom Hearts. Now, as you can see by my background, I am a massive Kingdom Hearts fan. So I would love for nothing. I would love to have Kingdom Hearts content in Disney Speedstorm. The realist side of me, though, is saying not very likely. And the reason being is because, a lot of the stuff that they do for Kingdom Hearts, in terms of, like, Disney Parks appearances and merchandising and yada, 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 is mostly Mickey, Donald, and Goofy and, like, the Disney original characters. I know Disney owns Kingdom Hearts. I'm not questioning the whole like legal red tape kind of thing, but they have to jump through a lot of hoops to like talk to Nomura and get approval, and like talk to Square Enix and get approval. So still technically, whatchamacallit, still technically not very likely, but I wish it were more likely because I would love to see. I love Kingdom Hearts. I love more content with it. So crossing my fingers yet again that gets into there some way or another. Treasure Planet. You think that I would probably rate it the same as Atlantis, but actually I'm going to put it here. I think a lot of people are really pushing Treasure Planet. You know what, now that I think about it, maybe I shouldn't. No, maybe not. I think Disney's starting to notice that like a lot of people, or there's a lot of fan outcry for Treasure Planet. And in terms of like racetrack, outer space, like how much more unique can you get compared to everything else we've had so far? Like nothing takes you to outer space. Everything's on Earth. Well, yeah, I would say Wall-E, but again, he's a guest character, so doesn't really count there. But like, I don't know, it feels like there's more fan presence of Treasure Planet compared to Atlantis, but in my eyes, both are equal in terms of popularity, but I feel like if they're gonna pick anything, they might, Okay, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna bump this up. I'm gonna bump this up. I could see both of these happening. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are gonna happen, right? The wording of these tiers could have probably been a little bit better, but in terms of like this kind of thing, yeah, I definitely think Atlantis and Treasure Planet have more of an edge over Kingdom Hearts. I will tell you that right now. So these two, yeah, these two are definitely going to, could be very possible if they want to do more 2000s deep cuts, but I doubt it. So we have The Incredibles, like besides Toy Story and Monsters Inc., like this is like the third big flagship Pixar franchise. So I am very shocked that it has not been represented at all yet. Is it only a matter of time, or is it a very good chance? I might put it in only a matter of time. Because, again, Incredibles, massive popular franchise from Pixar, and we need more Pixar franchises in the game. Cast of characters, a lot of potential there. You have the entire Parr family, and you also have Syndrome, and you have the villains from Incredibles 2, which I doubt they're going to pull from, but you have Syndrome at least, so like, I mean, come on, how does it not happen yet? Exactly, right? So, I think Incredibles is pretty guaranteed at this point if they want to pull from more Pixar franchises. Chicken Little, oh god. Unfortunately, not in the same kind of status as Atlantis and Treasure Planet in terms of popularity. Might put it in not very likely. Although it's very possible that they can have Chicken Little and his friends be racers. Like, I could see it, I could totally see it happening. Not very likely, yeah, pretty much so. Meet the Robinsons, I think is more possible than Chicken Little. Because again, cast of characters, you have a whole family to choose from. And you have the location of Tomorrow, or Today Land actually, being super unique, and you can do a lot of very unique things with it. So it's got a decent shot. I don't think it's a very good chance, but it's got a decent enough shot to be included. Ratatouille, on the other hand, see, this is interesting, because again, this is like another like massively popular Pixar franchise, but like, will they pick this? Because, you know, I could see Remy and Emile and Linguini and a bunch of the other like human characters in that movie being like characters for sure. And I can also technically see the same thing as the Rescuers and Great Mouse Detective, where like everyone can be shrunken down, and that's like the racetracks you're going through the restaurant as a sort of racetrack. So, I mean, I know it's not very likely. I might put it in good, could see happening. I wish it would be in very good chance, because I know how much people, I know how much people love this movie and how popular it is and everything, but I don't know if they would pick this over any of these other ones. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. So yeah, we'll just leave Ratatouille here for the time being. Up, if they only choose Carl and Russell and like any of the other human characters, then it's possible. And you can also, the racetrack for Up could be pretty unique too, where you can start where Carl originally lived, and then maybe you go to South America for the or Adventure Falls for the other half of it, or maybe it could just all be in Adventure Falls, because like that location is just so unique. But yeah, I think Up might also be like a potential idea. Wreck-It Ralph, I'm also going to put it in guaranteed, because like, you got Vanellope, she's a racer. You have Ralph, he's been in a racing game before. How has this not happened yet? And then you can have like the arcade. You can go through like Sugar Rush and Fix It Felix Jr. and Hero's Duty. You can go through like all those different games, and that's like super unique racetrack. And you got 4 racers to choose from off the bat, or actually 5. So like, I mean, come on, how has this not already been in there? You know what I mean? So, I'm gonna leave that there. But let's see, very good chance. Big Hero 6. I think Big Hero 6 has a pretty good chance. It's not, I don't think it's as guaranteed as some of these other ones, but like San Francisco is a unique place. You have the entire Big Hero 6 team as potential racers with, you know, their own sort of unique stuff. So I would probably put it in very good chance, not any higher. I might also put Inside Out in that same category too. I don't know if it's like guaranteed, but you have 5 racers right on the box art right there. Inside Riley's head is such a cool idea for a racetrack. Like it's got so much potential, like so much potential to be included in the game that I think it's got a very good chance. Zootopia I will also put in very good chance because you got Nick and Judy, and then you got some other racers if you wanted to include them. They could make Zootopia its own season as well, right? I could definitely see it having that being a possibility. Guaranteed? I don't think so, but like very good chance, very good chance. Coco, I think, is guaranteed. At this point, like this movie is so huge that it's just a matter of time before it gets included. And you got Hector, and you got Miguel, and you have a bunch of other characters you can choose from too. And then the racetrack, the Land of the Dead. Man, come on. It's like such a cool location, and it's so beautiful too to boot. So yeah, it's super guaranteed, I think, at this point to get included. Onward, I think Onward could see happening. I could see this happening as a guest franchise, not so much as a like its own theme. Like Ian and Barley, definitely you could represent the franchise with them alone, and that's all you need. So yeah, I could see it happening. I'm not sure it's as likely as any of these others in the same tier, but like I could see it happening for sure. Soul. I mean, like, it's interesting enough. I don't know what you would do for a racetrack if I'm thinking about it. Like, I guess you can go between New York and I think they live in New York, right? I can't remember. Yeah, it might be New York. You can go between that and the Great Beyond, I think is what they called in the movie. Soul's not a super popular Pixar franchise though, so that's why I'm kind of on the fence about it. But I don't know if is it as likely as some of these other ones? I don't know if it's even that. Yeah, I'm gonna say not very likely, which is a shame because again, like Soul's a beautiful movie and I love it. But, you know, Joe and 22 are probably the only characters you can really pull from here to, like, be as guest characters. And if you really wanted to stretch with the racetrack idea, like, it's got potential for a very beautiful racetrack. But in terms of popularity, that's what's really keeping it down for me. Luca. I think I might also put Luca in not very likely. You got a bunch of racers right here that have potential, and maybe you can go between like the ocean and the land, which I think it's what's that place called again? Porto Rosso or something? I think it's Porto Rosso. I could be wrong, but again, popularity kind of tells me I don't think this is super likely. Like it would be cool to have Luca and I think his name is Antonio, right? I can't remember their names. Sorry. but like this is a decent it's definitely more popular or more likely than these, but we'll see if the popularity kind of kicks in and like people want to include it. Strange World, not Strange World. I'm jumping ahead. Turning Red, I don't think it has a very good chance, but I could see it happening. Like you can go through, you know, Canada, their Canadian city or whatever, and then you can maybe go through like the temple, and then maybe you can even go through like that bamboo forest that May goes through whenever, you know, they have to put up the pandas or whatever. It's definitely possible, I will say. It's very, very possible. But I don't know if they'd pick this over any of these other ones right here. So we'll just keep it at could see happening. Strange World. God. Well, I loved Strange World. Everyone completely forgot about it. No one even remembers it at all. That's why I might want to put it in not very likely, but like it's got so much potential for at least a racetrack. Like the inside of that world turtle thing. Spoilers for Strange World, by the way. You know, the strange world that they find themselves in is so cool visually that I could see them making so many unique mechanics with that racetrack. Characters, you have a good, decent chunk of characters. You have all the Clades, and then you have some of these like other characters like the President and stuff like that. So it's definitely possible for them to make a season franchise at a Strange World and Racers 2 and whatever. But again, just popularity. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put it here. I just don't see it happening as much as I see all these other ones do, which is again super much a shame because I love this movie like a lot. And now we're on to our last movie, at least for this listing, Elemental. I might put it in Could See Happening only because again characters. That'd be the only reason why. I don't think they're gonna make it a full-on franchise for a season. I think they'll just do a guest franchise where they have Ember and Wade as like racers, and that's probably about it. That's as far as I can see them using Elemental at all in this game. But yeah, I mean they got a decent shot. It was a pretty good movie, all things considered. Or I mean, well, no question, it was a great movie. But in terms of possibility or potential for like content in Speedstorm, it's got a decent shot of having a decent amount of things to work with. So I think I'll probably keep it at Could See Happening. Okay, but I think let's see. Let's see if I want to change anything. I think this tier right here probably should stay the same. The only one that I would change is probably bumping up Finding Nemo to not very likely. But even then, there's like a lot of stuff holding it back that I don't think it's really going to be a franchise in this game. So I think I'll probably leave this tier alone. Yeah, I'll leave this tier alone. Not very likely. Yeah, I think all these check out, I think. Yeah, I think this tier is pretty good too. I don't really need to make any changes on it. Could See Happening. Is there anything that could be very good? A very good chance. No, I think all these are pretty much sleeper hits in terms of like the layout I got here. So yeah, I think actually this might be the end of the tier list. Let me go ahead and remove this row just for a second. Cool. All right. So yeah, we have our franchises that are already in the game itself as of mid-season 5. Again, we know Little Mermaid is going to be the season theme for season 6, so we know that it's guaranteed. But yeah, we have all of our already in the game kind of franchises, and then we have the rest of our tier list here that has good potentials. Yeah. I think that'll probably... I think that'll be it, though. Okay, I think with that, I'm pretty confident with my list here. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I'm very excited to see what the future of Disney Speedstorm holds in terms of like which characters are going to get in and whatever. I'm pretty excited about the Little Mermaid season 6, because again, we know all of the guest characters. For this season, we got Oswald, Hortensia, and we got Wally, and then obviously we're going through Frozen right now. So this has been a pretty good season so far in terms of like gameplay as well as like representation as well. But yeah, I just wonder what they're gonna do for like later seasons going on. So again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment for, if you want to see more stuff like this, because I want to make more content on Disney Speedstorm on my YouTube at least. But yeah, I think with that, I'll probably call it a video. So until next time, guys, I'll see you all later. Bye.